Greetings, greetings, everyone. Coming to you live, an emergency broadcast. An emergency broadcast, it really isn't much of an emergency, but it just so happens that I have two guests today who are on with me from the UK. So my noon is your, what, I think it's 5 p.m. or 6
p.m. Yeah.
5 p.m. So it's almost dinner time there. So what do we do here, Uncle Flav? What Uncle Flav does is he accommodates his guests. And so these two gentlemen that I have on the Zoomer right now, are just an amazing duo. And it's kind of like, you know, when you finally go into a really, really dark room and when you open it up and you're like, I don't know what's in there, but man, look at all these mushrooms. You know how when you can't cook a really good meal without mushrooms, but mushrooms grow in the dark, man. And so I have Spencer on the line, who he's a mushroom that's been growing in the dark. He's been a community member forever. And anything that you see visual, like, let me just show you this real quick, guys. I'm going to show you this. You've seen Max talk about the subway, right? The Epic Cache ecosystem. Well, I want you to look at that and look at that. And I want you to look at this ECR, ECK, E1, ECAP. What do we have over here? That would
E0,
be
that one.
Which one is that?
E0, I think.
Oh, that's E0. And then we have Epicentral, etc. This man right here, Spencer, is the creative force behind those. And we love us some Spencer. Anything that you see when you go to our amazing website, you are going to find all of his work all over the place. Not only, is he just creative from an illustration standpoint, but he is a genius when it comes to creating videos. And so I'm going to show you a video here in a little bit after I introduce our other guest, who is also, a mushroom, but he's at a different level of mushroom. He still wants to stay in the dark. So I gotta stop sharing this. But he's going to remain he's Richard Freeman. And if you haven't heard that name recently, you haven't been paying attention, because that little 6-minute video that I posted the other day that everybody is coming back to me and saying, oh my God, where has that video been all my life? Well, it was the combination of these two gentlemen that did it. So I asked Spencer, because it is my want between now and the snapshot on the 25th to be able to have a friendly chat with as many contributing community members as possible. And I don't know who has contributed more than you, Spencer. And I mean that with all my heart. Just, I see the edits that are requested of you, and I don't know how you read Max, but he speaks in the language of Max and you interpret it. I don't know how you tell.
A lot of practice, but a lot of practice on a lot of people before I got to Max. So I'm used to working with clever people and trying to translate what they say into something simple. So that's, yeah.
Well, good. Well, we're going to unpack your backstory and what you do and your discovery of Epic and such. But Richard, are you on the line as well?
I am. Hi.
Yeah. Gosh, that voice. That voice is the voice of that 6-minute video. And you are not only the voice actor behind the video, if you will, but I believe, did you write that video?
Yeah, I did. I had a wonderful 2-hour conversation with Max and lots of conversations with Spence. And again, it tarries with what I do professionally, but it's a wonderful story to be able to tell, and I enjoyed writing it and recording it.
Well, that is amazing. And I recently shared on a live stream that it kind of pisses me off a little bit. It's like I have 6 months worth of video documentary going back, trying to explain this and figure it out. And here you guys come out with a 6-minute video that when I watch it, I'm like, oh, now I understand. So thank you. It is really, really easy to make things hard. It is really, really hard to make things easy. So your service is much appreciated. And I understand that there is a second video short in the works, and that you also are writing a third. And so I'm grateful, and I really admire people who have the ability to take a lot of complicated information and distill it down to where it's bite-sized. So, just folks like me can understand it. So thank you. So that's a little backstory, everyone. Hello, people who are starting to come in the chat. I'm not going to show the video yet. I want to have a little conversation with Spencer and Richard first. And then we're going to show it when a few more people come up, because it really is the most important video that I have ever posted on my channel. So Spencer, let me give the mic to you. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your backstory, what you do, your how you came to Epic Cash, and
okay.
and I do have to say, and I've shared this with some friends, that you are literally one of my favorite people in the community, and I mean that with all my heart. You always come with a smile and a lot of energy and joy. So thank you.
Well, that's very kind. That's very kind. 2 things before I start and talk about myself, and I won't talk about myself for long because I'm the least interesting person in the world. But you nailed something. My first ever job, my nickname was Mini Mushroom, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. So I used to work in a dark room. So I used to do presentations but it was all done photographically back then, back in the late 80s. And so I used to spend my life in a dark room with a rostrum camera and developing films and stuff. And my boss named me Mini Mushroom because basically I don't ever come out at night.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So you got that right. And then the other thing is, I'm not going to take credit for all those logos. There's lots of other community members that have worked on various logos and bits and pieces. So there are lots of other art workers, and there's other people in my team that I draw on as well. So it's a kind of joint effort.
Okay.
But yeah.
Great. Well, we acknowledge that you're also humble. So thank you for that. It is just amazing what you and your team does. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do and who is your team?
Yeah, so I run a small presentation design agency. I've been running it, I don't know, for 20 odd years now. Well, maybe, wow. Yeah, 20 years, a long time. And we specialize in doing presentations. So we specialize in taking stuff that people have made look terrible, made themselves, make them look beautiful, and we do. I work with people like Richard when we really need help telling the story. So yeah, so that's kind of, in a long roundabout way, it's how I got into crypto, really. In 2010, Richard and I started a software business, a presentation tool for the web. And after a couple of years, about 2012, we built the software, and we had loads and loads of spare kind of cloud capacity. And one of the developers said, why don't we use some of that capacity to mine some Bitcoin? Wow. And so we started off on that process, and we started to get that ready. And then if you've ever worked, I know you've worked with software companies as well, we had a disaster, something broke, everyone went onto that, and then before we know it, we've forgotten that we were going to mine some Bitcoin. And I was just saying to Richard, if we had mined some Bitcoin, that company would probably still be here. But,
the Lord works in mysterious ways, Richard.
He does.
Spencer.
Yeah, but kind of, so I didn't really look at crypto again until 2016, and I was doing some work with one of the big four accountants, and they were one of the partners there. We did this thing where we kind of helped coach partners, Richard and I, and one of them was asking help to explain Ethereum to their other partners, to the leadership, because they thought it was going to be a threat to their business. So again, we had to kind of do a bit of a deep dive into, well, what's this Ethereum? I know it's something to do with blockchain. What's blockchain? Had to understand all of that. And that kind of led on to a few things. And again, got busy, didn't really look at it. And it was only in, I guess, 2017, I think Rich and I had a conversation with another coach, and he'd been working with the group that, the Ethereum Foundation. He'd been doing some coaching with them, and he was saying this crypto stuff's taking off. You should look at it. So I went away and looked at it, bought my first Ethereum, bought some Bitcoin, bought a few other bits and pieces, kind of watched that tail end of 2017 to 2018 kind of ride up, then ride back down again. Didn't sell any at the top, and basically ended up sitting on some losses. And it was through Richard's son, Kit, actually, that kind of the next developments went. He said, well, if you've got some Bitcoin, you should keep it on a hardware wallet. I said, what's a hardware wallet? I had no idea what a hardware wallet was. And he said, there's this thing called a ledger. So I went and looked up what's a ledger, went and bought one, went and loaded my crypto on it. And at the same time, I've been working with this company in California who had been building security products for three-letter agencies in the States. So they're kind of very clever, doing really clever stuff. And I'd kind of been working with them for about 2 years, and it'd taken a long time to understand what they did. Turns out pretty much they'd been building hardware wallets, but for securing data rather than securing private keys. So I thought, well, I wonder if it can be used for crypto. So I hopped on a plane out to California, went and met with the COO and said, what do you think? We got some engineers in a room, and they said, yeah, it can be done. So we spun up a new business, and we started a business called LockBlock, which was designed to build hardware security for businesses, for securing private keys for cryptocurrencies. So there's this thing called public-private keys. So we kind of, it was all about securing that stuff. So that was really, I started to deep dive into crypto, and then started doing various bits and pieces for startups. You get a name, you do one thing for someone, they share it with someone else in that world. They go, oh, that's cool. Who did that? And I ended up kind of hopping along doing 3 or 4. And that's how Max found me, actually. I didn't find Epic. Epic found me. And I got an email from someone that I worked on a project, and it was an email which read something along the lines of, I'd like you to meet Max. He's got a really special project called Epic. I think he needs your help. I'll leave you two to get in touch. And that's where it started for me. And that was kind of the first, there's still that first video up on the...
What was the timing of that?
That was May 2019. So pre-launch.
Wow.
Pre-launch. So they just finished they were just finishing up writing the white paper. So so we did a little video, and then it was one of those nightmare jobs where Max basically turned to me on a Friday night, and he said, I want to launch the white paper on Monday morning. It's a Google Doc. Can you make it look beautiful? I want it to look like a Rolls-Royce brochure. And I'm like, oh shit, really? And if you've ever worked on any of those big brands, what he wanted it to look luxurious and really just sumptuous and lovely. And my heart sank, because it's a cryptocurrency, and there's no brand, there was no logo, there was no branding, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. It was a white paper, that was it. Yeah. And if you've ever worked on luxury brands, it's basically all about the photography. Beautiful photography and beautiful locations and beautiful men and beautiful women and whatever.
Right.
None of that. So it's like, okay, how am I going to make this look lovely and aspirational and actually? So I've got to come up with a brand, come up with something. How am I going to figure out to make all this really boring technical content look beautiful? And I've got to do it in a weekend. So I had a weekend from hell, of which we delivered something. That's the white paper that you can still see on the website, and that's how we ended up with black and gold. It was, shit, what am I going to do? How are we going to make this look amazing? So that was kind of the first couple of projects for me in Epic.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right, so then you started at the beginning. Other than just being a hired gun, if you will, at what point in time did you, after you started learning about it, reading the white paper and stuff, did you, I presume at some point in time, you stopped and said, hey, there's a there. This is pretty special. And began acquiring it or mining it, right?
Yeah, well, I mined from day. Well, I tried to mine from day one, but it took me about a week to set up the miner because there was not as much help as there is now. You know, those guys are all trying to figure out how to do it themselves. So I got some help from my from a relative who managed to help me set it up.
Right.
So we got the miner set up first week. So that was just ticking away, mining a few bits and pieces, and I kind of left it at that. I got really busy with other stuff. You know, more work came in. And it was only at Christmas 2019 when, you know, I do this every year and I'll do it again in a few weeks. You kind of sit back and have a review of the year and go, well, what went well, what went badly, what was interesting, what was, you know, what could I do, what would I like to be involved in, what can I drop? And I sat back and I looked at Epic and I was like, this is the project I've been looking for. So I've been, since I'd kind of started working in crypto.
Just got goosebumps, sorry. It just because
well, since I've been going, I need to find a project where I can add value, where I feel like I can really add value and I can bring something to the table and make a difference. And if it makes a difference, then hopefully I'll get rewarded if I'm holding some of the coins or tokens or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you know, that had been the back of my mind the whole way through, but I hadn't stopped to kind of realize that Epic was that project. And it was that Christmas 2019 where I thought, okay, I'm going to get back involved now and see what I can do. And then I think probably January, February, I plopped into the Telegram channel and kind of just started to do bits and pieces, and it's kind of grown from there. So and then started buying as well at that point. You know, I went through the same things that, you know, you've described, which was like, okay, I've got this crypto over here, it's sitting at a 80% loss. And okay, I've got to take that loss and I'm going to buy some of this Epic because I think it can go somewhere. And if it does, you know, I did all the things with the calculator. Well, if it goes to $1, you know, amazing. If it goes to $5, brilliant. If it goes to $100, woohoo, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I went through that process and kind of just started to get more and more involved. And what was interesting was, you know, my understanding of Max's vision. You know, he didn't let the cat out of the bag at the beginning that it was all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just Epic. And then, you know, one day he fed me about 20 sheets of you've seen the stuff that he sends.
Yes.
I mean, it's some of it's pretty illegible. But not only is it illegible, it's unintelligible unless you've got a degree in economics and a PhD in. So he sent me this stuff, and I'm like, oh God, what on earth? How am I going to turn this into something that anyone can understand? So that was the first kind of, he sent through the first kind of iteration of all this other stuff that we started to work on, and that's probably, I'm not even sure whether that was ever published. I mean, there's lots of stuff that we've done.
Probably not, but I don't know who came up with the idea of having this look like a subway to where these are different stops that literally do pull together his supercomputer of a brain's vision, right?
Yeah. Well, that was me, but that was my only way of being able to make it work on a page.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. So I mean, literally, thank you for that, because it was until I saw this, I just thought, you know, I just kind of was getting to a point to where I'd see one more coin or one more project, and I'd be just kind of not do the eye roll, but I would just be like, can we just focus on Epic Cash here and not talk about the future of everything, because it's just starting to get everything so confusing. Yeah. But then when that was published, I was like, whoa, now I get it. Now I get how we are going to go in stages, and all of these are subway stops that work together that literally can transform the world of finance. And so to me, it's kind of like that is a marker that we're going to look back on. Thank you, Spencer. That is really going to change a lot of our lives, because it triggered that aha, that get it factor. So
that makes me happy.
Yeah, well, look, it happens to be true, and I really find that people are starting to come around to this, and they're realizing that we're just not another coin. You know, we are a beautifully designed coin. Epic Cash is. But when you take a look at the vision and the bank of me, or the bank of I, or the bank of you, whatever we end up settling from a branding standpoint, but being able to use your ECR to be able to set up a smart contract so you can borrow from your Epic Cash asset and be able to turn that into fiat if you wish, to be able to buy a car or something, but never having to sell your Epic. And what that does to us emotionally, instead of having to sell our asset, right, and pay taxes on that asset. No, it's just like a home equity loan against your home. You get some equity out of it. And the only difference is, with a home equity loan, the bank comes up with a monthly payment and an interest expense. And with the bank of me, I think your wife came up with that. That's my favorite. But with the bank of me, I don't have to pay monthly anything back, and I don't have to pay an interest rate. Thus, my appreciating asset that I did not have to sell ultimately can wipe out that debt if you ever even want to. I mean, we're designed to just keep going up and up. And if you want to take then 10% of your holdings to wipe out that debt, just borrow from yourself 10%. So you're just creating a loan after loan after loan from yourself.
Well, these vehicles, if you like, or these systems have been available to wealthy people for years. So there's something, if you ever look up, if you're super wealthy and you've got a bank, a private bank in Switzerland, they'll offer you something called a Lombard loan. And a Lombard loan is, I don't know, you've got all your shares in a company and it's been floated for years, and you don't want to sell them out. You just basically deposit your shares in the bank vault, and they'll give you a loan, a super low. I mean, they'll give you a super low interest rate. They will make some money on it, but you won't have to sell your shares and you won't have to pay tax. So these vehicles have been around for a long time, and this is just leveling the playing field for all us mere mortals who don't have access to those kind of things.
Indeed, and the takeaway I want everyone to get is, because there are some people that are saying, okay, there's this snapshot on 12/25, so I'll hold it until then. And then, oh, is there going to be a flash crash? Because then people are going to be, okay, I've held it until then, and then it's going to go down. It's like, those of you who have that mindset, you're not paying attention. And first of all, I'll be first in line. I dollar cost average. I'll be first in line to grab any, if you want to sell me some low priced Epic, God bless America, or the UK, or wherever anyone lives. But we, for the first time in crypto, you are encouraged to just be able to hold for all of the things that you can do in the future. So now we have the benefit of somebody who is on the line, Richard, who you did something that we're going to show here in a second. You created a video short, and I would like you, first of all, to give us a little bit of your backstory, how you arrived at Epic, and then what inspired you to create such an amazing video that just simplified it all for all of us.
Hi, I do whatever Spence encourages me to do, because I love him dearly. He's a wonderful man. I've had a long history. So I'm 61, and for the first time of my life, I was an actor. So I made no money, but I dressed up in tights every night, put on mascara, and shouted Shakespeare at people, which was great. I enjoyed it, but I had 3 kids. I can remember doing, in my kind of mid-30s, some Shakespeare in Japan, and I missed the kids, and I wanted a way to earn a living, which means that I didn't have to work out of a suitcase, live out of a suitcase. And in the late 90s, people in business really needed to have their storytelling, and they were trained technically to be bankers or lawyers or accountants or private equity guys, whatever it might be, but actually they hadn't been trained to tell a story. And suddenly a door opened in the city to start helping them. So Spence and I met because there was the global chairman of one of the big 4 accounting firms, and I was helping him to do his presentations from an actor's perspective, and Spence was turning his PowerPoint from satanically bad PowerPoint, because Spence is a presentation PowerPoint genius, into something that visually was really clear. and we
Can I just
loved.
interrupt you from at this point, just briefly? When I first met Richard and we were in that room, I remember thinking, who is this annoying man that keeps changing everything? I soon learned to love him. Carry on, Richard.
Iron sharpens iron, as they say.
Yeah, and I can remember in the late 90s working with 3 guys from IBM, and they said to me, and I can remember this, they said, Richard, we need to tell you about this thing called the internet. And I'd never even heard the word. And then I watched the late 90s. I watched the inflated boom. Everybody had a .com. And out of that, out of the rubble of that, out of the crash in 2000, came Google and eBay and Amazon. So out of the mass numbers of kind of potential internet companies came companies that were changing the world. Mm-hmm. And my first connection with crypto was, I was diagnosed with cancer Christmas Eve 2014. I was told it was an incurable cancer. I was told I'd have 9 to 18 months to live. And one of my clients, because Spence and I work kind of corporately to help private equity firms and venture capital companies raise money and sell businesses and blah, blah, blah. He said, the secret to curing cancer is marijuana, Richard. So I went, well, that's interesting. And my son heard about this, who was at a very smart university, and he went on the dark web and he bought with Bitcoin marijuana toffees. So one Easter day, we'd been to church in the morning, we had roast lamb for lunch, and then as a family, 3 kids, me, we sat down and we each had a marijuana toffee paid for by Bitcoin, and we watched a movie. And I felt very sick, and I frankly went up to bed because I've never had drugs before. But we do the calculation now. Those marijuana toffees at today's prices would be worth about $50,000. And I remember thinking, well, that's interesting. And then probably 2000, rather like Spence, kind of our clients started to be talking about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I wasted a lot of money backing coins that I didn't really understand at all. And then probably about 6, 7, 8 months ago, Spence said, you really need to have a look at this because actually it's a great story. And to be honest with you, it's only in the last couple of months that I've really got it. And I really got it after the conversation with Max. And that opened my eyes, because for me, I've been to Africa a number of times. I've seen people who live with no bank accounts, with very little, who are completely excluded from the financial system that we enjoy in the West. And actually what Max was talking about, and particularly listening to your interview with Todd, actually, the vision of actually being able to provide financial services to billions of people on the planet who are simply excluded is, it struck me that it has a massive similarity with the vision of the internet in the late 90s, which was bring data to everybody. And that's really exciting.
Tell me about that conversation with Max.
Well, of the 5% that I could actually understand, it creates, I mean, what I love to do is to take complexity. It's what I love to do in my work, and try to find the simple arc of the story, because I didn't go to university. I'm one of the stupidest people I know. And it strikes me as a really interesting challenge. Can you sculpt a story into the fewest possible words, into the least possible time, in the simplest possible way? And Spencer is just a genius at taking whatever words there are and being able to visualize them in a way that we know the brain only understands an idea when it can see an idea. So the combination of the two, that's why I love working with him, and he's so brilliant at what he does.
Well, what I would like to do right now for the benefit of everyone is I'm going to share my screen. First of all, if you are Epic curious, I think this is going to help. Or if you are already in Epic, I want to just show you how you can just have a little secret tool to be able to send one simple link to someone and be able to have them get it. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go to my YouTube channel. So you can find me at Uncle Vigilante, okay? And you can see lots and lots of different videos down here. Many of them, like I was trying to see, where is the one with Todd Lewis? I can't find it. But anyway, just go back there. There's a treasure trove of amazing interviews with amazing people. But if you take a look here, it is an introduction to Epicenter. So I'm going to open this and I'm going to play this. And then we'll come back on the other side of this. Okay, I need to unmute it. And
in his case, it was all about the internet.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Lower the volume a little.
Imagine being an early investor in the world's best search engine or the best online shop. What about the world's best cryptocurrency? Maybe you think you are already, but I'm not talking about Bitcoin or any of the others. I'm talking about Epic, a coin you can spend without having to sell. Just imagine that. You've probably never heard of it, but before you laugh, let me just say in 1994, you probably hadn't heard of Jeff Bezos either. He was just a guy in a garage in Washington wrapping books and changing the world. Like us. In his case, it was all about the internet. For the first time in history, data could be sent from anyone to anyone, any amount, anywhere, for any reason. Genius. One of our team used it to start his own business. It went well until it didn't. 2008, the crash. His bank went bust, nearly took him with it. No fault of his own. He can remember reading Satoshi's white paper and thinking, is that even possible? A whole new financial system. Could Bitcoin do for money what the internet's done for data? Fast forward 13 years. Where are we now? Well, this is all the money in the world in all its various forms. Do we yet have a coin that can replace them all? The perfect cryptocurrency. Not Bitcoin. It's a wonderful store of value. It can replace gold, but it's not a medium of exchange. The blockchain's too big, too slow, and it's not private. For every transaction, you can see all this. That's not privacy, and that's not good. If one coin's going to replace all these forms of money, the blockchain's got to be small, and it's got to be private, and it's got to be pure, uncompromised. We all know more regulations coming, and when it does, any coin with any history of this is compromised. It's at risk of being shut down. The perfect coin has to be pure just to survive. Do you know of the 15,000 coins and tokens, only Bitcoin and a few others have a purity rating of 1 from the Crypto Rating Council? Last but not least, the perfect coin has to have utility. It has to be useful. How many coins do you know that can replace all these forms of money? I know one. And by the way, just like Jeff Bezos, we didn't invent anything. Epic is just a combination of all the very best crypto ideas. Fixed supply, great idea. Like Bitcoin, Epic's fixed at 21 million, halving every 2 years. By 2028, our emissions curve will look the same. Like Litecoin, we're using Wimble, but for us, it's at protocol level. So Epic's blockchain isn't just light, it's private. All these, once and forevermore, invisible to anyone. Purity, really important. According to these guys' criteria, Epic, like Bitcoin, scores 1. None of this. We could have, of course, but we didn't think it was worth the risk. Who wins in the end? The hare or the tortoise? When the regulatory hammer falls, our shell is thick. We're safe. You could say we're too small, that our growth's too slow. The truth is, like Amazon in 94, Epic is still in the garage. Mind you, it's not a home garage, it's more like a racing garage. Over 200 contributors in it, some of crypto's best brains, miners in over 70 countries, a Telegram group of over 1,500, community-led with no marketing. So, Epic has a lot of ticks and a lot of boxes. But so what, you may say, what about the price? Well, here's one way to value crypto. Utility matters a lot. And this is where Epic comes into its own. You see, we've designed Epic to have more utility than any other coin. Because it isn't just one coin, it's a whole ecosystem, like Amazon or Apple. And like Apple, we've designed it to be not just useful, but easy to use. And in the world of crypto, that's a first. In the early days of the internet, it took 9 steps to send an email. Buying, holding, selling, mining crypto is just like that. It's difficult for most people. Epic is going to change all of that. In 2022, we're coming out of the garage. First, we'll be launching the world's first wallet with an easy button. Buying and holding Epic will be as easy as clicking on Amazon's buy button. Second, if you want to mine crypto, you need big pockets, lots of servers. Ideally, you need to live in Kazakhstan. Until now. Soon, you'll be able to mine Epic using your own smartphone or tablet with a guaranteed 40% of our mining capacity. Imagine over 7 billion people on the planet having access to a gold mine in their pocket, working 24/7. Third, we'll make it possible for you to be your own bank. Imagine being able to lend money to yourself. No interest, just one smart contract. For the first time ever, you can spend your crypto without selling your crypto. That's what's called having your cake and eating it. Nobody who buys Epic will ever have to sell Epic. Imagine what that'll do to the price. And that is just the beginning. 2022 is when we're bringing the Epic car out of the garage. Till now, we bootstrapped the best car on the grid. Now we're ready to race. In 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto had a dream. Money reinvented. Dear Satoshi, happy Christmas.
Oh, man, that is just so awesome. I mean, get out of this. How am I going to get out of this? Dang. Well, can you guys see me?
See you?
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be, hold on. I'm sorry. How can I? Oh, there we go. I got out of that. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Awesome. That was just awesome. I mean, that is so crystal clear, and I'm so glad we were able to bake that into this live stream, because people can't watch that enough. Even if you already are into Epic Cash and you think, you know, you've been here for 2 years or whatever, every time I watch that, I get something out of it again. So Richard, excellent work. Excellent. Spencer, man, the graphics that you put with that, the transitions and everything, it's just utter stroke of brilliance. Now, I have gotten some pushback on one part of it that I'll just share with you. And it is that, the Telegram group is just 1,500. Just somebody came in and said, well, that's not very impressive. That's not too many people. I tend to look at it a little differently. I tend to think all of that with a small group of volunteers. What do you say to that challenge, Spencer and Richard, that it's only 1,500?
Ben, shall I go first?
Yeah.
So we're working with I'm working with a startup in Germany at the moment, which is backed by a venture capital client of mine. And what really impressed them about this startup, it's basically 3 guys who are digitizing operations for restaurants. And what really impressed them is that for 5-6 years, they bootstrapped. And they bootstrapped, there were 3 of them, very small team, and the progress they made really impressed the venture capital guys. And I see Epic very much like that. The fact that they've been able to achieve what they've achieved, the team, I say this objectively, is extraordinary with basically a bunch of volunteers. I think I completely agree with you. I think it's remarkable, and it's very, very impressive. The fact that they haven't chased the money, they haven't done everything that was in the early days of crypto that was negative, and quite rightly. You know, when a small bunch of people make a shed load of money, and most ordinary people actually don't get a chance to do that and end up losing it. You know, that's just iniquitous. It strikes me as like the early days of the internet. So that would be my observation. I completely agree with you, Spen. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's in a similar way. You know, having run a few startups, getting something going and getting it moving is the hardest thing in the world, particularly when you've got no money or very little money and a small team and everything else. So to get to where we've got to today with this is just, it is astonishing. and it's, you know, yeah, I haven't even met any of you guys in person yet. You
Right.
know, I've been working on this project for, I don't know, what, 2.5 years, something like that. And okay, we've had a pandemic that stopped people flying, but you know, for all of this to happen, I think it's astonishing. So I have the same view as Richard. You know, to get something going and out off the ground is the hardest thing in the world. And when you haven't got millions and millions and millions to play with, it really focuses the mind about what's important and where, you know, how can you make a difference, where can you make a difference, what, and all that stuff. So yeah, I think disagree entirely. I think the 1500 Telegram group, pretty amazing.
And when people go to t.me/epic cash and you put your toe in the water and just go in there and be a voyeur for a few days, just kind of watch the interaction. What you will find is the most welcoming group of people who are just supportive of each other. I mean, I have personally put, you know, my daughter is in there. Even my ex-wife, you know, my daughter got her so excited. She's now in there. And then what happens is that's kind of the lobby, right? To a really nice hotel. You come in and you have a concierge and you have the folks at the front desk that tell you where you can find the ladies of Epicentral. Just go down the hallway, turn right. Oh, the miners, just, oh yeah, it's right in the back. It's the first door on the left. You can really go find whatever area that interests you in there. And we even have, guess what, guys? Guess what? People have disagreements. And we organically have figured out how to be able to manage that. So when disagreements happen publicly, and it just looks like, oh goodness, here's a disagreement. We have lots of new people coming in to watch, and their welcome is two people arguing. So we finally got smart and we said, hey, people have the right to argue, throw down, you know, this just isn't the right place. So we spun up a channel called that's by invite only, that's called Iron Sharpens Iron. So when we discern that there's some folks that are having, you know, a disagreement, we politely just say, hey guys, happy to send you a private DM, and can we take it over to the Iron Sharpens Iron? And I've only had to do that one time, and the outcome of it was beautiful. It was like,
but that's because they're nearly always saying the same thing. It's such a terrible way to communicate through text. It can be so misinterpreted, right? You're sitting there I'm watching these, you know, these little spats and going, you're saying the same thing, guys. You're saying the same thing. Yes. You both love Epic. Why? What you know?
Yes. So, but now it happened again. It happened again where some guy was coming in, and this happened, I think, Saturday. Yes, Saturday.
I love the way you dealt with it. You dealt with it beautifully and with a lot of grace.
Thank you. Yes, I invited them to the to the Iron Sharpens Iron, and I said that's where this place, I would like to do that and would love to be able to be in there and facilitate, and these things usually turn out positive. And the guy just kept going, and I said, okay, I'm politely asking you again, please, let's take this to Iron Sharpens Iron, because this is our lobby, and let's take it there. And I said, you know, I'm politely asking you again, and it's really going to be up to you whether you accept my invitation. But if you continue to go down this path, then basically you're self-banning yourself, because I can't give you more opportunities than this. It's not going to be, I'm asking you a third time and a fourth time. And who am I? Any admin can do that, right? But I then don't feel like we can ever be charged as we are censoring people, right? Because that's, I think, the beginning of a really bad community, when you start censoring people. So thank you for noticing that I sure tried, but I ended up banning him, you know?
Which is a shame, because he probably, you know, I think he got involved quite early on, went away, probably sold his Epic, went away, he's come back, he's seen the price rise, he's excited, but who knows? I don't know anything about him, but
Yeah, but we're just not gonna. We will tolerate pissing matches. Actually, it's just not going to be in the place where my daughter talks to one of her friends and says, "Oh, go to t.me epic cash," and the first thing she sees in there is a bunch of bickering and fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not very welcoming. So,
No.
but guess what? That iron sharpens iron only was spun up a couple weeks ago. And so, but that's the cool thing about this. It's like, we're creating our own future together. And if you don't think that you watching this right now can't have a positive impact, guess what? You can. Anyone watching this right now, I know that you have a special talent that maybe you haven't shared with others, but I guarantee you, based upon what I have witnessed in the community, that the cream rises to the top, and all of a sudden there are offshoots to where. And Ladies of Epic is my favorite example of this. It's like crypto has kind of been male dominated, and because Epic Cash is so welcoming to anyone and everyone, because Epic is for everyone. There's people who then become leaders. Lydia is a perfect example for me. I have invited her on this show because she has taken such initiative in so many areas. I can't tell you how many areas, how much impact she's having on our community in a positive way. And I'm just begging her to come on the show. But guess what? She chooses to stay just grinding, doing her thing, adding value. But that's the cool thing about it's a cool thing about the community and the Epic Cash blockchain. And I've said this before, but I think it's worth repeating. There are 4 ways to be able to add value to the Epic Cash blockchain. First way is to create it, right? So that's where we have our devs. That's where you had Max, the white paper, helping give birth to the Epic Cash blockchain. Second way is to go and mine it. So you are securing the network as you're mining, so you're protecting it in a decentralized way, and you are rewarded. You get mining rewards for that. So you get Epic Cash as your reward for doing a job well done and putting your personal resources against it. Third way is you can buy it. You can acquire it. You can go to the Vite multi-wallet exchange. That's kind of the preferred place to buy it. And for those of you who might be kind of might be going over your head because it's like, whoa, what is all of this? You can go to t.me/Epic Cash help desk, and there's lots of help and support there. And then you'll also find community members. I've done it probably a couple dozen times over the last couple months, to where I'm happy to walk anyone through it, because once you get your BTC into Vite, it can kind of be a little scary. Oh no, what do I do? It says run Vite or run POW. Which one do I do? And if you don't have a shepherd with you, it can be kind of frightening. But once you go through it once or twice, then you become the teacher for the next person that comes on. And then what I always love to do whenever I help anyone personally go through that, I always end up with, hey, now let me show you where you can send me your Epic 002 Vite receive address. Can you do that? Can you text it to me? Now watch this. Just watch. How many Epic do you have? 0. Okay, stand by. And then I'll put it in and I'll send them 10 Epic or however many Epic, and I'll say, okay, 3, 2, 1. I just hit send. Now I want to tell me how quickly it takes to get in there, and it's already in there. Like, see how fast this is? This is just amazing. And when I do that, I always ask them, when you bring somebody on, just pay it forward. I mean, even if it's just those 10 Epic or 50 Epic or 100 Epic, I've sent some people before, is just take a percentage of that and pay it forward. And that just creates, I think, a good, positive karma, if you will, around it. The fourth way that you can add value is by being in our community and doing things that like Spencer and Richard are doing. Spencer and Richard, how much Epic Cash was given to you both over the past couple of years, you know, from our Dow Treasury or somewhere? How much Epic Cash? Zero or zero, right? You've had to go out and acquire it, right?
Or buy it, yeah.
Yeah, mine it or buy it. And so, you know, you are putting your own personal resource and expertise into Epic Cash. Why? Because A, you have a unique set of talents and you are willing to carve out some time to access those talents for the benefit of Epic Cash, the blockchain, everybody watching, everybody holding Epic Cash. And you're not getting paid for it. You're doing it because you're part of the community. And when we add our own energy in a positive way to create something useful, a rising tide lifts all ships. And that is why I submit, with all of the amazing, you know, community members that we have. I don't have enough time to name them all, you know, but with all of the amazing community members who are now leaning in with their chin versus their hand out, we're at a point right now to, with the roadmap, the ecosystem, that subway system, and the fact that there are so many good things that are about to happen, that I'm standing firm with my price prediction of by year end 2020, I believe Epic Cash is gonna, and maybe before, is going to touch $1,000 a coin. And you know what? That's why I do this show. That's why I carve out as much time as I can, having a day job as well as all of you. It's because I just want to be a flashpoint, or I hope to be a flashpoint to encourage others and educate others. And it's kind of like Freeman You coming to YouTube. You know, it's if I do my job right and I interview the right people and I get the right community project leaders on to talk about what they're doing and give us some insights like you have blessed us with today, then I just think that gives people a place to go and use this channel as a tool simply to send a link to others, because I have so much content right now, including your amazing video, that somebody who, look, here's the hardest thing, right? When you're new to crypto and you're new to Epic Cash and you're so excited, you want to share it with others, it takes a long time for you to climb that mountain of understanding, right, Spencer?
There's so many concepts that you have to get to understand some of this stuff. I mean, it's layer upon layer upon layer. I mean, I tried to explain to some people in the office the other week about Epic, and I thought, you know, I've got 10 minutes. I'll just give them the quick. And as soon as you start the conversation, you expose a concept that needs explaining. You go, no, this you have to go back, and then you keep finding yourself going back and back, because it's just this layer of knowledge that you need to build up, and it just takes time. And that's the big problem with crypto today, is that you know, you've got to be, it's like investing in a startup, buying into a crypto, because you've got to do the work, you've got to do the due diligence, you've got to really understand what the people, well, not necessarily the people behind the product, what's the product, you know, is the timing right, all this stuff, you know, what's the technology, why is that better, all this stuff, and most people don't have the time to put that research in. So if we can do anything to make that easier by simplifying it, because at some point, as Richard said, you know, crypto is going to get to the easy button, and you won't need to undo that stuff. It'll just be there. It'll be just like money, right? It'll just be what you use.
Just like money, it'll be just like email and just like the internet, to where it's like
people won't know what ECR, EUSD, any of that stuff is, because it'll just be behind a button. Right. No, that's a beautiful way to put it. Richard, do you mind give us a little sneak peek on what video number 2, the subject matter? And the answer no is just fine.
No, what I was thinking of is, you know, if you're investing in a startup, or we deal with investors and we deal with companies being sold and their stories and all the rest of it. If you're going to put your money into something, you want the answer to a number of questions. Simon Sinek did a very famous TED talk on the power of why. And he said the great companies don't just tell the world what they do, they tell the world why they do it. Steve Jobs did it with Apple and various things. And I think what Spencer and I are trying to produce is 3 short videos. The first one, which you've seen, says, basically the title should be changed, forgive me, to what makes Epic unique, or why is Epic unique? That's what that 6 minutes tries to do. The second video is, why did we create Epic? In other words, what was the rationale? What was the reason? What was the problem? Why did it? What problem did it answer? And then the third video, if why did we create Epic, looks back to kind of the vision that Max had and Todd and various others and why they got involved. The third one is, what's our vision for Epic, or what's Epic's vision? Because then you look forward, because anybody who's going to buy a coin needs to go, well, who are these people? Why did they start this coin? Then they need to understand, why is this coin different to all the other 15,000 coins out there? And then I think they need to be inspired by, actually, what are they in for? Are they just in for a quick buck, or is this going to change the world? And having come out of the conversation with Max, actually, I'm and listening to your interview with Todd, I'm persuaded, and talking to Spence, I'm persuaded that it is a unique proposition in terms of what it offers. And we might be talking about, in one of the videos, first generation cryptos and the very first second generation crypto, which I think is an interesting angle. And I think I'm really inspired by what they wanted to do. It wasn't just about Moon and Lambo. And then actually what's really exciting listening to Todd is the vision of how this could be maybe the first crypto project that is for everybody in the world, and not just for the 69 million people who have a crypto wallet. Because the truth is, all of my crypto is bought and held by my son, because I don't have the technical competence or interest to be able to do it. And until the entire crypto universe and world can make it as easy for me to buy, sell, hold crypto as it is for me to talk to you on my iPhone, then it won't reach the rest of the world. So that's the challenge for the entire industry. Can Epic lead that? I absolutely believe that they can.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys, because you just mentioned that, the easy button. And I did get permission just to share this little video short. So people who have been in, let me just look you in the eye. People who have been in crypto, and specifically if you are really into privacy, you're very familiar with Monero and XMR. The same thing. XMR is just the symbol. So you have Bitcoin, which is which converted to BTC. BTC is not the Bitcoin original vision at all. It is now a surveillance coin. So any transaction that you send, basically you are just opening up your whole financial world, crypto financial world, to anyone you transact with. They can go and do chain analysis and tell everything about you and your holdings. So Monero came out to solve for that, and is like, no, we are going to be a privacy coin, to where nobody can tell who sent what to whom or how much. And with the tech that they delivered, it was a beautiful thing. And the project took off, and today I believe it's about $4 billion is the value of that blockchain. Now, if you want to do a paired comparison between us and Monero, then you might want to check out my video I did yesterday, where I unpacked TCV's portfolio. My issue, just to catch people up, has never been about Epic versus Monero. I think Monero is an amazing project, and I specifically think the people who were responsible for making it amazing are just legends. Well, there's one person who ended up, he was the face of Monero for 2.5 years. His name is Diego. And there started to be some infighting within the Monero community, and not at the tech level. I want to be very clear on that, because Diego is very, very highly complimentary of the folks at the tech level. But he's been on Team Epic. He was so impressed that he's been on Team Epic for about a year. And what he wanted to do is create that easy button for you, Richard. Is he wanted to be able to create a wallet that all of us could use and understand. So he went to work, and he actually went through the user experience of PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, all of a Cash App. And he went through all of those. He documented them, storyboarded them all out. And he came up with with his knowledge of crypto, how it is transferred, and privacy. He came up with, I'm calling it the Diego wallet. I don't know what it's ultimately going to be called, but it is already there. I'm going to give you a sneak peek that's just going to give you kind of a visual of what it's going to be look like. And this is going to be come out as soon as V3, which I'm going to comment on V3 real quickly. Why hasn't V3 been final released yet? Because people are asking about that. The answer is super easy. Is that the code that was written, Todd Lewis, who I think we all respect highly, is like, this looks to be great code, but if there's one backdoor anywhere, what good comes from that? Nothing. Let's delay that, and let's do an audit, and let's actually pay to be able to have a couple of devs go through, kick the tires, and that's going to take a while. And so we did that. It became a community fundraise to be able to invest in those devs doing that. So they went through all of that, and man, 100%. I mean, the code is rock solid. So then there is the process of, you have to document the code, because if you're going to have this ecosystem, this subway ecosystem, then you need to deal with other, I'm going to say companies, other projects, to be able to integrate. If you just give them the code and you don't tell them that this mail, with electricity, you plug into the wall, this goes into this over here. If you don't document how to do that, or think about when you open up something that you have to assemble, if there are no instructions for it, guess what? There is margin for error. So we are going through the process now of documenting every line of code so that we can future-proof, hopefully, future-proof integrations with exchanges, with other projects, to be able to ride the rails of others. So I trust in Todd. So I say that because I've seen some people in the chats that are like, wait a minute, you said ECR or V3 was going to be released already, and why is it delayed? So I just gave you the why, and I hope you can appreciate the reasons behind that. And I think the community is deserving of getting that explanation. So I hope that takes care of that. Let's just trust in the people who have taken the time to get us to where we are. So it is forthcoming. It is forthcoming. Whether it's going to be by the end of the month or in January, I don't know. I'll keep you posted. But once that is out, Diego's wallet is already ready to be able to be spun up and operationalized. And then that'll go through a process of kicking the tires and trying to break it, right? But probably some point in time in Q1, maybe even early Q1, you're going to see something like this. Okay, and this was just him going through, this is your user experience. So this is his vision, not just vision. This is how ultimately it's going to look. So I'm hitting play, and you'll see his cursor. And he's just given a sneak peek. That's it. But you can see how easy, when you talk about the easy button, when this is released, people, Epic Cash is not going to be under $10. I promise you. So that's why I keep saying people are going to one day brag about buying Epic Cash under $10. People are going to one day brag about getting Epic Cash under $100. And you guys just have to appreciate this. Diego, he was like, he's so well, thought of over there. And some guy called him the Epic Jesus. I mean, Epic Jesus, the Monero Jesus. He's like, you have the Monero Jesus on your team? Yes, we do. And he's been here for a year, just wanting to be, way under, what's the cliche, under the radar. But now he is, I got his approval to be able to just share that with you. But so that should be exciting for those Monero folks out there. You might want to look underneath the Epic Cash hood, even though you have folks over at the Crypto Vigilante that continue to call us Epic Trash, and they keep their subscriber base from investing in an appreciating asset that, since September 3rd is up 1,800%. So if you would have put $1,000 back in September, on September 3rd into Epic Cash, it would be $18,000 now, a net unrealized profit of $17,000. If you would have invested that same $1,000 in the TCV portfolio, you'd be underwater 19%. Did that analysis yesterday. So I'm just saying that I'm just saying that my point is that the community that you don't even know is behind this, who are under the radar, is if you did know everything, I'm telling you, you wouldn't be that guy invite saying, oh, it's 575. I'm going to wait until it goes down to $5 to buy the dip. No, you would say, man, I don't want that train to leave without me. Let me just chomp, MF chomp on that red. So not financial advice, but I'm just saying that's how I managed it when I pivoted and invested. I really didn't care what I was getting, because to me, the price that it's at today is going to be epic dust in the future. Spencer, what do you have to say about that?
Same, exactly the same. I mean, I was market buying just whatever was there. What's interesting is psychologically, when something's at 5 cents and you're putting money in, you think you're insane, because you're putting money into a project that is the lowest end of the coin market cap scale. It's off the scale. It's so low it doesn't even exist. You're putting your hard-earned money into something that 10 people know about, and I don't know, probably 100, 150 people. It wasn't many people anyway, and I thought, am I mad doing this? I really, and it's interesting. You kind of get this confirmation bias as more people join and they see what you see, and then you feel more confident that you've made the right decision. But I thought the price didn't reflect the value of the project at all up until recently. You could still buy Epic at 30 cents, 6 weeks ago, I think it was, or 8 weeks ago. I don't know what.
On 9/3, it was 30. So on the 3rd of September, it was 32 cents.
Yeah. And it's the value that I could see, obviously, because of all the conversations I have with everyone and the whole team. This is insane. This is such an undervalued project. And it still is. It's still,
it's still undiscovered. Yeah. Well, guess what? When we get on the Bitmart exchange, so right now, inside baseball, I've touched on it before, but I'm going to share it again. Over the next couple of weeks, for the very first time, we are tapping into some marketing dollars, 6,200 to be exact, community raised, that is going towards, sometimes it's pay to play, to be able to get on a big influencers channel to where they reference you to kind of expand the adoption. You know, that costs, a lot of people don't realize it, but when, you know, BitBoy is talking about the next best project, I guarantee it's not from the bottom of his heart. So we are, over the next 2 weeks, that the word of Epic Cash is going to start getting out. And then when we get listed on the Bitmart exchange, which should be on the 22nd of December, everything seems to be going well, and that integration is going well. Prior to doing that, there's going to be a PR piece that is going to go to all 8 million of their users. Now, imagine you're one of those, and all of a sudden you get this amazing PR piece written by us that talks about the positive attributes of Epic Cash. You guys just go take a look at your own coin market cap, click on Epic Cash, and do year to date and take a look at where we are price wise. Do the last 90 days. I mean, do the last 30 days, do the last week. I mean, you do that. That's what 8 million people, of course, not all of them, but there's going to be a good percentage of them who are going to say, oh, this is new. Let me go read about it. Let me do my own work. And then when they look at those charts, and they're going to say, whoa, they were only on one exchange, and we're the second. There's going to be people that, it's just the law of big numbers, guys. 8 million people is a lot of users.
And even if 0.1% of them bought some Epic, it would have a massive impact on the price. So it's, you have a tiny amount of them have to buy.
Yeah.
Because no one's selling.
So no one's selling. And so what is the message here is, I tell this to my daughters. I have 4 of them. All of them now are into Epic. All of them. And I'm telling them, you know, acquire as much as you can before Christmas because you want to be able to have ECR. And it's like, just when you get extra money or take some that you've saved, you know, put it into Epic Cash. And they've done that. And because I want them to have as much ECR. For me, I already know the future, you know, and look, I'm a big boy. If the future doesn't turn out to be $1,000 by end of next year, and it's only we flipping Monero and we're only $350, you know, so I was wrong. But I think that you do your own math at 350 with your portfolio, and I think everyone would be happy with that. But just get in there, get your position, and then wait until the snapshot. And then what you have learned from watching the video today from Richard and Spencer is imagine having an asset that you never have to sell. And that's the people who get that. The people who get that are the ones that I think in the future are going to be very, very financially secure. I am going to open up a note here because I wrote something down that I just want to put out into the universe. And here it is. The cost of delayed acquisition of Epic Cash is merely living with regret. I'm going to say that again. The cost of delayed acquisition of Epic Cash is merely living with regret. Would you guys agree with that?
From my point of view, absolutely. I think it's a hold at least until 2027. I see. Yeah. You know, the truth is probably Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin comes down, Bitcoin goes up, and altcoins probably go over the same thing. That's just sentiment. That's the market. And am I smart enough to time the market? Absolutely not. My daughter works for Goldman Sachs. She's not smart enough to time the market. Yeah. Nobody can. So I think this is a project you simply hold on to. And in the grand scheme of things, for a young person, if they can get hold of an asset, you know, 100 of them, whatever it might be, 1,000, actually, and hold for 5 years, 6 years, that's life-changing. And that's certainly the way that I see it. And then you can do, Spencer and I were talking about it, you could potentially do an awful lot of good around the world.
Amen.
How many stakes how many steaks can anybody eat a day? And it's not that good for you anyway. So, frankly, in the grand scheme of things, the difference that wealth could make is one thing, but the difference that the project could make. I go back to what Todd was talking about. The potential to impact people's lives all around the world and give them safe and secure personal banking, I think is remarkable.
Yeah, we're talking about the unbanked, and they're believe it or not. Now we're in the West, well, at least many of us are, and I have never ever been to some of these places in the world to where I understand that, you know, they may work all day and earn the equivalent of $3 a day. You know, I just have never been there. I'm taking other people's words for it, that there are literally places, lots of places around the world with that. Now, with what Todd Lewis taught us is that for $30, you know, in those same areas, people can buy a smartphone where they would be able to mine Epic. And he's like, imagine someone making $3 a day that may even feed a family of 5, right? I think he was saying, imagine if they, you know, were able to mine enough Epic that basically doubles their daily income. You know, that becomes life-changing in a way that you and I can't even envision. And go ahead.
The really great news is I've just sent Spence a recording of that story, and wonderfully, he's going to do it tomorrow, aren't you, Spen?
It depends if any clients call me up first.
I hope everyone hears that. You just this is how a community project works. People lead with their chin, not their handout. Richard wrote this story. Richard hive-minded it to where there's a group who contributed to maybe change this word or that word and everything, and it became a beautiful, beautiful story that now he has sent to Spencer, and Spencer is going to do his video magic and give us a second installment while Richard is working on the third. I mean, just that is so dang cool and should be encouraging to all of you that these talented people here are doing this for us, right? Doing it for us. And I know what the story's about. I know what the story's about. And, you know, I'm not going to say it's going to be a tearjerker, but it is going to be very, very meaningful to, at bottom, what is our why? Just phenomenal. So
the third one's done, so I'm going to record it tonight, and then Spen can do it by the end of the week. That's good news, isn't it?
Thanks, Richard.
and can I have your permission, guys? Can the Uncle V channel be where it comes to the world first? Can I upload it first?
Of course you can.
Yeah, of course. When do you want it by? If you could just tell Spen.
Don't be demanding.
I mean, literally, end of day tomorrow would be good.
Oh, cool. Yeah, good. Very good.
No, look, it would be cool to have it by Friday because I would play it on our Epic Cash Live show.
Oh, I tell you what, since
Fantastic.
we're on, Spen, would you agree to do the second video by this Friday and the third video by the following Friday?
Perfect.
I'm not agreeing to anything.
I don't think that's very community minded.
Yeah, where are your priorities? You know, when you have paying clients coming, come on, you know, do it for the children, for crying out loud, Spencer.
I'm so selfish. I'm sorry.
So selfish. Well, guys, I have totally enjoyed this. Goodness gracious, almost hour and a half with you. This has just made my day and week, and I knew this was going to be one of my favorite little chats. Thank you for all of your work and your future work and continued work, and everybody in the chat, thank you for showing up. Looks like we had a great group in there. I'm sorry I didn't read any of it, but I know you guys are all awesome. Spencer, would love each of you just maybe take us out and just give us something encouraging to go on.
Spen, you go.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I just, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I look in the Telegram channels to find out what's happened overnight, because we're all over the world and we're all in different time zones. And that's part of what's wonderful about this. There's always stuff going on. And then I kind of go, well, how can I squeeze what I need to do into the day, because I've got all this other stuff to do. And, you know, I guess this project for me is really, really interesting, because it could even be life-changing for me. You know, if the price moves to a certain point, there's a point where I can step back from my business from the day to day and dedicate even more time to this. So, you know, it's been a real journey for me as well. So I'm super excited about the future. I always say to people, and this is kind of my note of caution, if you're ever putting any money into crypto, any project, do the research, find out all you can, and be prepared to lose it, because stuff goes wrong. You know, you are not in control of the world. You're not in control of the environment. You're not in control of anything. But of all the projects in the crypto sphere, if there's one that can survive nuclear bombs going off around it, I think it's Epic.
Beautiful.
I think I'm still getting treatment for cancer. And actually, it becomes more and more important to me to feel that I'm making a difference with my life. That matters a lot. And I was talking to Spen the other day, and I was going, actually, I think us together being able to help tell the Epic story might make a considerable difference. And that feels really great, because it's not often that you meet a fantastic team working in a great culture, working on something so big that it could potentially make a difference, not just to millions, but to billions. And I think that's really exciting.
That's beautiful. You know, usually I would take it out, but that was kind of goosebumpy for me. So I'm going to leave it at there, and just thank you both for joining me. And I'll leave with my last final word I always use.